Hello students, welcome back. We have already discussed about that multitasking in the fourth unit of embedded system. This is Jayalakshmi of IG College of Engineering. Now we are going to discuss about inter-task communication. In that one, what's the need for that inter-task communication? One task has to communicate with the other task because they are interlinked. If you want to complete one process, one job, means we have to communicate with each other. Okay, each task has to communicate with each other. So for that communication we are going to use different methods. First one is semaphore. So when you are discussing about inter-process communication, if you are discussing about multitasking, so many tasks has to be executed concurrently. But when they are executed concurrently, there is no only one task can be executed one time. That is given as a basic rule. So we have already discussed that one, how the multitasking is happening. Okay, suppose that there are two trains that for use you how to communicate that one. If some of the task wants to communicate with each other, that time we can use the semaphores. Okay, there are two types of semaphores. One is binary semaphore. In that binary semaphore, semaphore is called binary semaphore when its value is 0 and it is assumed that it has been taken or accepted, and when it is 1 it is assumed that it has been released or sent. Okay, so if the task wants to communicate with each other, they can use the semaphore. Semaphore is nothing but it is same as that one. When two trains want to move in the same track, okay, when they want to share the same track, one of the train is moving in the track, means it gives a signaling. Okay, you have seen that now. When you see that before entering into the railway station, your train will be stopped for a few minutes for getting the signal. If the signal is clear, then only the train will enter into the platform. If some other train is in the same platform, means we have to wait until the train really move from that platform. Similarly, here also we are having a task which is executing the current, which is executed by the CPU. Other task has to wait. It is indicated by the semaphore. So semaphore gives a communication between two tasks. If one task utilizes the CPU, means the other task wait for the signaling. In binary semaphore, if the value is 0, means it is assumed that someone else is utilizing the source. Okay, so assume that it has been taken or accepted, and when it is 1, it is assumed that it has been released. Okay, so the resources released means others can utilize it. For that, example is given as: consider an automatic chocolate vending machine. After the task delivers the chocolate, it has to notify to display task to run a waiting section of a code to display collect the nice chocolate. After that one, you have to receive the message, thank you, visit again. Once you know that one, once you receive that message, generally you know that one, you are delivered with the chocolates. Okay, next one is mailbox. It's another one method of inter-process communication. So a message mailbox is for an inter-process communication message that can be used only by a single distinct task. Okay, if a task is having only one destination, then we can use the mailbox. As you are use the mailbox in your regular life, you are having a destination address, means you write a letter to whom you want to communicate, and you are give the address in the head. Here also you are mentioning the address of destination, and it will be given to the source. Okay, the mail sender is the source who sends the message, and it creates the mailbox. After it creates the mailbox, through OSM box, it will be delivered to the receiver. Okay, here is an example for that one. A mobile phone LCD display task in the mailbox. When a time and data message from a clock process arrives, the time is displayed at the side corner on the top line. Okay, once the date and time is arrived by 12 o'clock, it will reach us to the next date, means it has to be displayed at the top of the mobile, top corner of the mobile. Okay, so it is having certain place, so the message which is arrived will be displayed at the top corner of the LCD. When the message is from some other task to display a phone number means that number will be displayed in the middle. Okay, when the message is to display the signal strength of the antenna means it is displayed at the vertical bar on the left. Okay, this is how we are placing. Okay, we are having certain definite addresses of the receiver, so that particular address will receive the data and it will be displayed there. Mailbox types at the different operating system: multiple unlimited messages queuing up, one message per mailbox, or multiple message with a priority parameter for each message. You can create a queue and you can make the messages to wait in the queue. So that messages will be one by one delivered to the receiver. Once it is delivered to the receiver, at the other end it will be deleted. When it is received or read by the receiver, it will be deleted. If another one method is only one message per mailbox. If a mailbox receive one message, first it deliver the message, then it will accept the next message. Okay, multiple message means you will be given a priority. Based on the priority, the message will be delivered. Okay, these are all the types of mailboxes. OS functions for the mailboxes: you have to create a mail, you have to write the content, and it has to be accepted by the receiver. If he read that message, it will be deleted. Okay. Next one is pipe. Message pipe is another method of inter-process communication. A message pipe is a device for inserting, writing and deleting from that between two given interconnected tasks. If two tasks wants to communicate with each other means they will read the message first. Okay, they will read the message and they will wait until the receiver reads the message. Once the receiver reads the message will be deleted. So in the pipe, that only the two tasks will be connected with each other. Once the first task A transmits a message means the task B will read the message. Once he read the message means it will be deleted from the pipe. Next, if A is having some message means it will post the message in the pipe. If B is having the message means it will post it in the pipe. And the commands used for this one is fwrite, fread, and these are all the some pipe commands used in real-time operating system. Functions at operating system: open, connect, write, read, close. Okay, pipe device create. First you have to create the pipe, then the pipe has to be open between the transmitter and receiver. They are connected by the connect function. Once they have connected, you have to write the message to be transmitted. Then the message has to be read by the receiver. Once the receiver read the message and get the indication, it will be closed. Okay, this one is explained in this one. Next concept is shared memory concept. Shared memory is an efficient means of passing data between programs. One program will create a memory portion which other process can access. Shared memory, the meaning itself you can know that one. If two processes want to share the data, want to communicate with each other, they create one process, create a common place. Shared memory between the process. Okay, so once the shared memory is created between two processes means they will share the common data in that one. So if the second process needs the data, he can utilize the data. Okay, this is the shared memory concept. A shared memory is an extra place of memory that is attached to some address spaces for their owners to use. As a result, all of these processes share the same memory assigned and have to access it. Once they have read down, if the process, the owner feel that it has completed the process, then it will be deleted. Shared memory is a feature supported by Unix system. See that one, two processes are there, they are sharing the common memory. If process 1 wants to share some data means it will posted it in the shared memory, and the same thing will be read by the process 2. Similarly, if process 2 wants to communicate with the process 1, he will post the data in the shared memory. Okay. for generating the shared memory, first you have to ask for a shared memory with the memory key and the memorize that return the shared memory id. This is performed by the call shared memory get. First we have to get the id and the key to share the common memory space. Okay, so those who want to share the data, he will create the shared memory. Once the memory is shared, if it wants to share it with some other task, means task or process, means it has to share the memory id as well as key. For that will be get by this shared memory get. Then attach this shared memory to the server address space with the system called shared memory attachments. The address will be attached to the server. Initialize the shared memory if necessary. Then once it is attached to the server, it will be initialized. Okay, then do something and wait for the client's completion. If the client read the message, it has to wait until the client read the message. Next, detach the shared memory with the system called shared memory detach. Okay, once the message is read by the client, then the message, that is shared memory, will be detached from the sharing option. Remove the shared memory with the system called shared memory control. Clear? Okay, it will be deleted after that one. Next one is message passing. Most general purpose operating system actually copy messages as twice as they transfer these from task to task via message queue. In our task, the operating system copies a pointer to the message, delivers the pointer to the message receiver task, and then deletes the copy of the pointer with the message sent task. See that one. If message center task, it transmits the message to the RAM. From the RAM, the receiver receives the message. So it takes a copy of the message and the pointer will be transmitted to the receiver. And once the receiver receives the message, then the pointer and the message will be deleted from the RAM. Okay. Message passing is an asynchronous information exchange mechanism. So if you are having message passing, the major difference between shared memory and message passing technique is that through shared memory, lots of data can be shared, whereas only limited amount of information passed through the message passing. In message passing, we have limited amount of message that should be passed. But in shared memory concept, whatever data you want to share, you can place it in the shared memory area and then it can be read by all the clients. Okay. Also, message passing is relatively fast and free from the synchronization overheads compared to the shared memory. In shared memory concept, it has to take more time and it needs some synchronization between the server and client. There are two basic message passing primitives: send primitive, receive primitive. So send primitive sends a message on a specified channel from one process to another. Receive primitive receives a message on a specified channel from the other process. Message passing is classified into message queue, mailbox, and signaling. In message queue, a queue is formed and that process which want to share the data, that will be post their message in the queue. So first in will be first out. First message which is posted in the queue will be read by the receiver, then it will be deleted. Okay, that is in the message queue. In mailbox already we have discussed. Now the same thing is discussed here. In mailbox already we have discussed. So in the mailbox you have to give the definite address of the destination, so it will be delivered to the destination. Next one is signaling. So once the message is posted in the common place, it will be given, a signal will be given to the receiver and the receiver will receive the message. Next one is priority inversion. Priority inversion is a byproduct of the combination of blocking past process synchronization. If two or three process wants to communicate with each other, there will be a priority given to that one. So which task has to be executed first will be given by the priority. So that is priority inheritance. If the highest priority wants to access the resource means it will utilize that one. That is priority inheritance. If the lowest priority utilize the resources means that is priority inversion. Okay, this is all about the priority inheritance. This is all about your what's that one, inter-process communication. Okay, so we have discussed about the inter-process communication of the R process, how one process is going to communicate with the other process. In next class we will discuss about the examples of R task. Okay, thank you.